I'm Stephanie Donaldson, and over the course of the next 4 lectures, I'm going to be helping you to get to grips with being an organic gardener. Over the 4-week course, I will be presenting a series of lectures that will help you understand both the big issues, in other words, the philosophy behind organic gardening, and the practicalities, in other words, how to do it. I will guide you through the steps you can take to adopt a chemical-free, sustainable and benevolent way of caring for your garden that will be good for your health and that of the environment while keeping your garden looking great. Lecture 1: The Philosophy and Origins of Organic Gardening. This is an introduction to the subject and the people who have turned an age-old way of tending the soil and growing plants into the most environmentally kind and sustainable way of gardening for the 21st century. I'm an organic gardener, and presumably, given that you've signed up for this course, you are too, or would like to become one. So what is organic gardening? At its simplest, it is cultivating the soil and growing plants without the use of chemical fertilizers, pesticides, or fungicides. Organic gardeners believe that the key to successful growing is to create a healthy soil. It is a safe and sustainable method of gardening that ensures that the soil is passed on from generation to generation in good heart. Done well, it is also the most environmentally friendly way to garden and is now widely recognized as such. So why does this matter? It is easy to dismiss your own small patch of soil as unimportant in the greater scale of things, but this just isn't true. An organic garden is a place where a natural balance can establish itself for the benefit of all its inhabitants. From the beneficial soil bacteria that break down the contents of your compost heap and release fertility, through the myriad of insects, the birds, small animals and amphibians, each has a role to play. Organic gardening is not just about growing your own fruit, flowers and vegetables without recourse to artificial fertilizers or pesticides. It's about promoting biodiversity and helping maintain the chain of innumerable life forms in the process. It is extraordinarily complex and interconnected. For example, did you know that ants are symbiotic with violets, cyclamen and coreodalis? There's a fleshy bit on the seeds which they take down to their nests and feed to their young, before taking the seed away to grow elsewhere. So before dismissing anything as a nuisance or irrelevant, we should be aware that everything has a role in the organic garden, even those we would rather be without. When I began organic gardening, we were widely regarded as eccentrics who wanted to turn back the clocks and return to a bucolic 19th century way of gardening. I don't suppose the fact that many of us, myself included, were hippies living an alternative lifestyle helped. But we had all read Rachel Carson's book Silent Spring, and we were frightened by her description of the damage being caused by the widespread use of pesticides. Although she was writing about American agriculture in the 1960s, it was clear to us that what she revealed had far wider implications. It seems extraordinary now that at the time she wrote her book, the chemical DDT was in everyday use in domestic homes and gardens, as well as in agriculture. It was perceived as so safe that it was advertised with a catchy jingle, DDT, good for you and good for me. In sourcing this image for my lecture, I was horrified to find another one for DDT-impregnated wallpaper for use in children's bedrooms. It seems unimaginable now, but it was back in the days when science thought it had simple solutions to every problem, and the phrase side effects had yet to be coined. But in Silent Spring, Rachel Carson uncovered the unforeseen harm these pesticides were having on the environment, particularly on birds. DDT was causing thinning of eggshells, and this was causing reproductive problems and death. Evidence of the damaging effect of this and other chemicals was growing, but the manufacturers had much to lose by going public. Rachel Carson accused them of a cover-up, and public officials of uncritical acceptance of industry claims.
Unhealthy lifestyle behaviors associated with increased risk of premature death include things like smoking and excessive drinking and not eating enough greens. The best way to get your greens is in whichever way you'll eat the most of them, and one way to sneak extra greens into your daily diet is with whole food smoothies, a potent blend of good nutrition in a quick, portable, delicious form. The Mayo Clinic offers this as a basic green smoothie recipe, combining the healthiest of fruits, berries, with the healthiest of vegetables, dark green leafies. 2 ounces of baby spinach is about 1.5 cups. Curly parsley is another mild beginner green to start with. Surprisingly, the sweetness of the fruit masks the bitterness of the greens, such that the pickiest of children love them, along with any adults who would otherwise not be consuming dark green leafy vegetables for breakfast. Or even fruit, for that matter. The average teen may only be getting about 1/20th of a serving of fruit otherwise, and loops don't count. But offering smoothies can have a dramatic effect on fruit consumption for students who do not want to take time peeling or chewing fruits. Who doesn't have time to chew a fruit? But the milkshakey texture of smoothies may not just boost the quantity of fruit and vegetable consumption, but also the quality. Carotenoid phytonutrients, like beta-carotene and lycopene, can exist as microscopic crystals trapped within the cell walls of fruits and vegetables, and they're only released when the cells are disrupted. That's why we need to chew really well. Mastication is doctor speak for chewing. We either have to chew better, or choose plants that are easier to chew. For example, while tomatoes have more beta-carotene than watermelon does, the watermelon's beta-carotene is more bioaccessible because it has kind of wimpy cell walls, but the cells of other fruits and vegetables are smaller and tougher. To maximize nutrient release, food particle size would ideally be reduced down to smaller than the width of the individual plant cells, but you can't do that with chewing. Most vegetable particles end up greater than 2 millimeters when you chew them, which corresponds to way up here. Whereas if we broke open all the cells, we could release much more nutrition. We can never chew as well as a blender. The particle size distribution from chewing is about what you'd get blending in a food processor for about 5 seconds, or one of those high-speed blenders for maybe half a second. 40 seconds in a blender, and you can break spinach down to a subcellular level. Why does that matter? Well, take folate, for example, the B vitamin in greens, especially important for women of childbearing age. Feed people a cup of spinach a day for 3 weeks, and their folate goes up compared to control. But even just chop it up finely with a knife first before chewing it, and you end up with more than twice as much ending up in your bloodstream. And the same absorption-boosting effect with lutein, the green's nutrient so important for our eyesight. It's not what you eat, it's what you absorb. But for lutein, the boost was only 14%, so a few extra bites of the whole leaf greens would have gotten you just as much, and some other nutrients, such as vitamin C, aren't affected by pre-chopping at all. And this is less of an issue with cooked vegetables. This is for raw carrots. Boil the carrots for 3 minutes first, and even just regular chewing can release like 10 times more, but not as much as blended. Intense cooking, boiling for 25 minutes, so damages the cell walls that even gulping down large particles can result in significant absorption. But even then, blending may double carotenoid availability, explaining why we may be able to absorb 3 times the alpha and beta-carotene from pureed cooked carrots compared to mashed cooked carrots. So, blending vegetables, raw or cooked, into soup, sauces, and smoothies can maximize nutrient absorption. You went to the store and bought it, or toiled in your garden to grow it, you might as well take full advantage of it. Might there be a downside to enhanced absorption, though? We'll find out next.
This is one of the wonders of nature, and anyone who owns this tree can consider himself as a wealthy man, family or whatever. Now I'll explain a little bit about this tree. It's called jackfruit. See the bark, it's quite smooth, dark, there's no big fissures and all. This wood is, yellow color wood is good for making doors and such things eventually when the tree dies. But only an idiot will cut this tree, because the fruits are so versatile and amazing. See, this is the biggest fellow here. This is ready to cut now. And then this is the second stage. See, these thorny things are less prominent. And this is the third stage, even younger. I think probably these are something to do with the flower. And now we'll have a look at something even younger. See, before that it looks like this. It's only 1 inch long. This is a bud, it's not yet opened. Okay, and then see this. Here the bud is just opening, and the first stage of the fruit is getting exposed. See, amazing thing. And then as it grows, it comes to this size, and finally it becomes like this. And the biggest of them can be up to 15 kilos, and a whole bunch of people can eat them up. This is the leaf. The seed is a very nice, can be ground up and eaten. It's very nice, ground up and cooked and eaten. Very nutritious thing. And storable. The seeds can be dried and kept for a while also. And the fruit is very tasty. All animals of the forest like this fruit. Right from elephants to cows to horses. Monkeys, of course, and of course the ultimate monkey, we all like it ourselves. So this is one of the nice
I've covered high-fat plant foods in the past, such as nuts, which are health-promoting, coconut oil, which is not so health-promoting, but what about avocados? 75% calories from fat, but good for you nonetheless? Neither good nor bad, or something we should consider avoiding? Well, rats fed the human equivalent of 200 pounds of avocado seeds don't do so well, but we're not rats, and who eats avocado pits? Then, of course, the FDA warns about the toxicity of avocado leaves for the lactating mammary gland of the goat. But what about the actual fruit? Not good for pets, evidently, but then again, neither is chocolate. What about the actual fruit for actual humans? We've been eating avocados for 10,000 years, the darling of health nuts everywhere. What could possibly go wrong? Well, they're not a problem for cholesterol. In fact, people put on an avocado diet see a significant improvement in their cholesterol, probably in part due to its phytosterol content. The California Avocado Commission even supported a study pitting, no pun intended, avocados against a malignant line of oral cancer cells. Here's the control. The red dots indicate living mitochondria inside the cells, the little sparks of life force, extinguished by an avocado extract, leaving dead, lifeless husks of cancer cells in its wake. Kills breast cancer cells too. There's a natural plant toxin produced by the avocado tree and found in avocado fruit that acts as a fungicide, an insecticide, and can do a number on human breast cancer cells. And here they are. These are not what we want in our body. These are 3 breast cancer cells huddled together, planning their route of attack. This is a different stain than used before. The red is their nucleus, and the green is their cytoskeleton, the cell's skeleton. Didn't know cells had skeletons? How else could they move? How else could a breast cancer cell get from the breast to the brain or to the liver? It crawls there. Here's a video of breast cancer cells in a lab working their way through a maze researchers set up for them, using their cellular skeletons to pull themselves along. But that's what chemotherapy is for. This is what the chemo drug paclitaxel can do. Clumps up their cytoskeleton, so the cells can't move, can't divide. And the avocado toxin can do the exact same thing, stopping breast cancer cells in their tracks. The researchers conclude that Persin, the avocado toxin, should be further evaluated as a single-agent or combination chemotherapy agent for cancers of the breast and potentially other cancers as well. Look what this toxin does to cancer cell DNA. This is a measure of DNA fragmentation. The avocado compound rips their chromosomes limb from limb. Unfortunately, it turns out. So yes, watermelon is a healthy fruit, healthier than we used to think, but there's healthier still. Greens are the healthiest vegetable, but what are the healthiest fruits? A few years ago, I talked about the study suggesting that eating a single serving of berries every day could add an extra year to our lifespan. Wait a second, tastes great and we get to live longer? That's really what plant-based eating is all about. More good news this year on cranberries and blueberries. In general, berries are packed with wonderful phytonutrients with nice names like petuniadin. That's another difference between plant and animal-based foods. In plant foods, there's like the theanins in tea, and gingerols, rosmarinic acid, lemonoids like lemonin and tangerine, whereas in animal-based foods there are substances with names like putrescine in turkey muscle. This is from the Journal of Nutrition. Dietary putrescine doesn't really roll off the tongue, nor would I want it to, frankly, touch my tongue at all.